The golden hues of the setting sun bathed the quaint coastal town of Praia da Luz, Portugal. It was May 2007, and the McCann family had just arrived for a peaceful getaway. Their days were filled with laughter on the beach, ice creams, and carefree moments, a perfect escape from their busy lives in the UK. But on the evening of May 3rd, everything changed. After putting 3-year-old Madeleine and her younger twin siblings to bed, Kate and Gerry joined friends at a nearby tapas bar. The restaurant was just a short walk from their apartment, and the group decided to take turns checking on the sleeping children throughout the night. It was supposed to be a simple evening. Good food, good company, and no worries. Around 10 p.m., Kate McCann headed back to the apartment for her turn to check on the kids. As she entered the bedroom, her heart froze. The window was open, the curtain fluttering in the cool night breeze. Madeleine's bed was empty. Panic surged through her veins as she ran back to the restaurant, screaming, "They've taken her! They've taken Madeleine!" The quiet resort town was suddenly thrust into chaos. Neighbors, staff, and tourists joined the McCanns in a frantic search. Flashlights swept across darkened streets, shouts echoed in the night, and posters of Madeleine's innocent face were quickly printed and distributed. But as the hours stretched into the early morning, there was no sign of her. By sunrise, the news of Madeleine's disappearance had spread. Portuguese police began their investigation, but their efforts were criticized from the start. The apartment wasn't properly secured as a crime scene, and valuable time was lost. Witness statements were collected, but there were no strong leads. The McCanns, devastated but determined, pleaded with the public for help. Kate's voice broke as she stood before the cameras. "Please, if you know anything at all, help us bring Madeleine home." Gerry stood beside her, his face pale and drawn. Their grief was unmistakable, but whispers of doubt began to circulate. Could it be possible that the McCanns knew more than they were saying? The search continued, with volunteers combing the area, helicopters scanning from above, and divers exploring nearby waters. Madeleine's face appeared on television screens, in newspapers, and across social media. Her image became etched into the minds of millions. But as days turned into weeks, hope began to waver. The media coverage was relentless. Reporters camped outside the McCann's apartment, their cameras capturing every tear, every desperate plea. Talk shows debated theories, some sympathetic to the family, others questioning their decisions. Why had they left their children alone? Why wasn't there more security? Every detail of the McCann's lives was scrutinized under a glaring spotlight. At first, the couple welcomed the attention. It kept Madeleine's case in the public eye. But soon, the headlines turned cruel. Speculation swirled. Had Madeleine wandered off on her own? Was she abducted by a stranger? Or, as some suggested, were her parents hiding something? The McCanns faced a storm of accusations. Still, they refused to give up, using every resource available to keep searching for their daughter. "We will never stop looking for her," Gerry vowed. But behind closed doors, the weight of suspicion and grief was crushing. Waver. 4 months after Madeleine's disappearance, the case took a dramatic turn. Portuguese police, under pressure to show progress, named Kate and Gerry McCann as formal suspects. The news sent shockwaves through the world. How could grieving parents be accused of such a horrific act? The police theorized that Madeleine had died in the apartment, and her parents had staged an abduction to cover it up. The McCanns vehemently denied the allegations. Their spokesperson called the claims outrageous and unfounded. But the damage was done. Public opinion was divided. Some believed in their innocence, while others weren't so sure. The investigation seemed to be going nowhere, and the McCanns' nightmare deepened. As the years passed, Madeleine's case remained unsolved. Her parents continued their search, funding private investigators and launching campaigns to keep her story alive. On every anniversary of her disappearance, they held vigils, lighting candles and sharing memories of their bright, curious little girl. Theories about Madeleine's fate multiplied. Some experts believed she had been taken by a child trafficking ring. Others suggested she might still be alive, living under a different identity. Every new lead brought a flicker of hope, only to be extinguished by disappointment. The McCanns clung to each other and to their belief that Madeleine was still out there. "Until we have proof otherwise, we will never stop looking," Kate said during a TV interview. But the years took their toll, leaving them visibly worn by the weight of unanswered questions. 17 years after Madeleine vanished, the Portuguese police issued a formal apology to the McCanns. In a rare public statement, they admitted mistakes had been made in the early days of the investigation. Evidence had been mishandled, leads were missed, and the family's grief was compounded by unfounded accusations. Kate and Gerry accepted the apology but remained focused on their mission. "We appreciate the acknowledgement, but this isn't about us. It's about Madeleine. She deserves justice," Gerry said. The apology reignited interest in the case, sparking debates about how it had been handled and whether Madeleine could still be found. But for her parents, it was a bittersweet moment, one that brought no closer answers about their daughter's fate. Today, Madeleine's story is both a mystery and a symbol of hope. Her image remains on missing posters and websites, her name whispered in prayers around the world. What happened that night in 2007? Did someone watch the apartment, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? And most importantly, where is Madeleine now? For Kate and Gerry McCann, the questions never stop, but neither does their hope. "We believe she's out there," Kate says, "and we won't rest until we find her."